is doing this. Standard data defined by department, applications defined by department, but not the same across the organization. It's good, but it doesn't give you a consistent view of those things that are truly important to the success of your enterprise. Stage 3, unify. This is where the magic happens, and it's not all about technology. It's not all about infrastructure. At this particular stage, we call this the tipping point of the model. At this particular stage, we are beginning to unify across our business silos. We're sharing data. We're breaking down political barriers. We are now seeing things in the organization differently than we have ever seen them before. We now understand what the total value of that customer is to our organization. From here, we can really propel forward. Stage 4, discover. We can begin to look at things like customer profitability, true profitability at the customer level. We can begin to look at optimizing activities like supply chain and other processes. We can begin to make a very big difference on the bottom line. A very big difference. We can ask some pretty tough questions. And then we get to level 5, and this is the magical level, and you might say, I'll never get there, but you can. You can, and that's what this conference is all about. Stage 5 is the level of innovation. At this stage, we recognize data as an asset that is as important to us as the people within our organization, our customers, our processes, the products we produce. Again, at this stage, it is no longer seen as exhaust from operational systems. It is an asset that we protect and that we covet. We do not compromise at this stage. We have data governance in place. We require fact-based decisioning, and the data itself can become an asset that we can monetize and utilize, not just some of the additional products that we've had in the organization. At this point in time, we can look at new lines of business. So there you are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guarantee if we were to survey this audience, at least 3/4 of this audience would say that they are stuck between level 2 and level 3. Pretty easy to do 1 and 2 with technology, but it takes a concerted effort and respect of data to get to the point where you can share and begin to drive this culture of fact-based decision-making and truly make a difference in your organization. So what prevents you from moving up? What prevents you from moving up in this model? There are a number of attributes to look at, but you have to map out your organization. So now you've got your management team agreeing, all right, we're stuck between stage 2 and stage 3. What's going to help us move? Well, one of the first things we have to look at are our people. Do we have people within our organization that are committed to fact-based decision-making? Do we have HR programs in place where we bring in the right people and we continue to advance their skill sets? We introduce them to analytics. We introduce them to some of the best tools out there for visualizing like Tableau. We help them with that. So maybe at this point on a scale of 1 to 5, I give this fictitious organization a 3.5. And then we talk about process. Do we have processes in place that help us nurture the data? Do we have data governance in place? It's a great question to ask is, you can go back to your organization, you can say, how many of you have a help desk? How many of you have a help desk? Everybody's going to raise their hand. What does a help desk do? It helps you log in when you can't log in. It helps you understand a new function in Excel. It helps you understand why Outlook just crashed. What's the value in that? Do you have a help desk associated with data? Do you have a data help desk? You go, oh, that's ridiculous. I could never pay for that. But you can if you value the data in support of decision making. If you commit to fact-based decision making, you now are collecting an incredible amount of IP in your organization in terms of how data is used, what tools were used, what data is good to work with, what data do you steer clear of. So you hire somebody new and you say, tackle this fraud problem for me. And they go, okay, how do I do that? And you spend the next 2 or 3 months running around the organization, figuring out who to trust and not trust, understanding what data works and what doesn't work. What if they came to work, went to that center of excellence or data help desk and said, I've got this problem. Well, here's what we have on record. You're beginning to capture institutional knowledge, a very, very important process. What about leadership? What does your leadership look like? Change is personal. Is your leadership committed to this effort, or are they simply delegating it down to a group to handle? Do they simply say, it's IT's responsibility to make all this happen? IT's responsibility, give them an extra $1 million, and they'll get it done in about 5 years. You deserve the respect in your organization as the facilitators of transformational change. You all are responsible for that. You are not simply the people who are responsible for putting data together. You are involved in transformational change. Does leadership have their sleeves rolled up, and are they participating? Culture, it's an important one here. Do you have a culture that accepts change? And probably more important, do you have a culture that is out there looking for change, recognizing that change is not an option, it's a requirement at this stage of the game. Change is a requirement, and what are we going to do to embrace it? Rate yourself there. And then finally, you do get to infrastructure. Are you dealing with best-of-breed solutions out there today? Are you dealing with solutions like from Informatica that win awards constantly and tackle the tough jobs? You all are here for a reason. You trust us, and you know that we can handle that job. Maybe we say, we're kind of okay there at 3.5, but by the time we leave Informatica world, we'll be at 4.5. Okay, so what does your organization look like? You connect the dots, and you get a picture of your competence. And you say, wow, this looks pretty good from a leadership standpoint and a cultural perspective. I've got some process issues. Let me get my management team on the same page, and let me introduce what programs so that we can expand this out. So as you look at this and you chart your course going forward, you ask yourself, as a management team, where are we? What kind of questions can I ask and answer at level 2? At level 2, I can say, what sales did I have last quarter for this particular product? I can't answer questions like, what's the likelihood that my customer will leave me for a competitor in the next 3 months? Why? Because I don't have the data together. And this is where things like MDM come into play. I don't have all the data put together, so I have a single view of the customer. So there are certain questions I can ask, and there are certain questions I can't ask based on the level. Get your organization on the same page. It's a way of looking in the mirror and agreeing on our competencies. And as we look at these other attributes, understand how they affect us moving up and down the model. You have a starting point. You can change this around. The point is, understand what you want to accomplish and understand what you're capable of. Why Informatica? Why Informatica? Informatica does one thing and does one thing only. Informatica has been doing one thing and one thing only for more than 20 years. We focus in on data management issues, whether it was years ago just building a data warehouse, or whether it's today producing a 360-degree view of a customer and utilizing cloud deployment. We are focused solely on data management. Others do it, others do different aspects of it, but it is not core to their livelihood, and it is not core to their success. We have extensive knowledge and deployment experience, so as we work with organizations to help them understand their competency and their capacity and their ability to change, we know what works and we know what doesn't. And we are definitely focused in on quantifiable business benefit. We are not implementing technology for technology's sake. We are implementing technology to solve business problems in a matter of months, not years. So as we look at the intelligent data platform from Informatica, let's recognize what's in it, how much is in it, how much are you using, what is the capability of what you have today. It is not an all or nothing proposition. It is not about going out and buying a new platform that's going to take 2 years to implement. It's about buying the pieces and parts necessary over time to solve very particular business problems. So as I look at master data management in support of Customer 360, or big data management utilizing Hadoop and other high volume storage processes, I don't just implement those for technology's sake. It's about solving business problems. So when I look at implementing an intelligent data platform, I do it over time. And I don't just do it from a technology perspective. I look at things like, maybe the first thing I want to do is implement a marketing data lake. And you're going to see one of these in just a minute. You're going to see one of these demoed. Why do I want to do that? Well, I want my marketing department and others to understand what my customer base looks like. And in implementing that in a matter of a month or so, maybe 2 months, I am beginning to create the intelligent data platform. I show the value quickly. I don't try to blow the whole thing out immediately. The next thing I do is I say, well, now maybe I'm interested in customer profitability. I use a few more elements of that data platform. The data platform begins to expand. My organization understands that data has quantifiable benefit associated with it. I get more support for what I'm trying to implement utilizing Informatica and our combined experience. So then maybe I move to data security. I realize I got a lot going on out there, and I understand that there's a lot of security issues associated with networks. Let's secure the data down at a data level so we don't have to worry about that security stuff. What's happening? Data platform coming out further. And then if I'm a bank, maybe I'm looking at risk. What am I dealing with from a risk perspective? And it goes on. And what you can see is, again, we are not doing this just to implement technology. Everything that we're doing in our organizations is to support fact-based decisioning, and everything that we do should have a quantifiable business benefit associated with it. We shouldn't just have an MDM project. We should have a customer profitability project. Or we want to have a cross-sell, upsell project. Those are the kind of things we need to talk about, and that's what bridges the gap between technology and business. And that's where it's at today, empowering businesses. So at this point, I think I'd like to invite Rob Carroll onto stage, and we'll get an example of this. And what we're going to look at is an example of this model I showed you. If you can reach level 3 of this particular model, this unified level, in this case, we're going to look at bringing customer data together. What's actually possible? Rob, welcome. What are you going to show us?
Thanks, Jim. Well, I'm excited today. I'm going to show you our Customer 360 True Business Solution. And Customer 360 actually brings together a lot of the core components of this intelligent data platform, including MDM, data quality, data integration, data as a service, as well as data security. So let me give you a look. So what you see here, I am Rob Carroll. I'm a mortgage broker for Fortuna Bank.
Is this a PowerPoint slide?
This is not a PowerPoint slide.